Hello, it's Seth from ChatThing here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can add your ChatThing bots directly into Slack. Let's go! Right, so we've got this bot that we've already set up here, and the first thing we need to do if we want to add it to Slack is go to Channels here, and then we want to click this little Slack toggle right here, which is going to enable the Slack channel for us. When we say Slack channel, we're talking about that's what we call the different channels in ChatThing. Bit confusing with Slack, who also have their own channels, but yeah, it's not too bad. So once you're in here, you get the option to change the Slack app name and the Slack bot name. So these, you can leave these the same, but basically the bot name is going to be how you're talking to your bot in Slack. So at the moment, with this setup, if I wanted to talk to my bot once we've added it, I'd have to write @Slack demo to be able to talk to it. So if we're happy with that, we can click Create Slack App like this. And it's going to redirect us to Slack. And then it's going to ask us which workspace do we want to add the bot to. So for this demo, let's just go to Pixel Hop. And then it's going to ask you to review some settings here. That should all be fine. You can just click Create. And then it's now created your bot. And you've got some settings here that we are going to need to pay attention to. So if you go back to ChatThing, you'll notice that there are some more fields in here that are empty. So what we need to do now is we need to go and get these bits of information from Slack and copy them into here. So the first one was the client ID. So we put that in. Then we need the client secret. Let's click show and then copy that. Then we need the signing secret. And put that in there. So once you've got all of those, you can then click this Install to Workspace button. So I'll do that now. And it's going to take you off to Slack again. And now it's just basically going to ask you permissions about what you want the Slack bot to be able to do. You need to leave these as they are if you want it to work. So just click Allow. And then it's going to take us back to ChatThing, and you should see this workspace installation successful pop up. And just to double check that everything's gone all right, you should see that these two fields are now populated with content as well. If that's what you see, it's all working. Okay, so we've now added our bot into Slack. So I'm going to show you how you can use it. So the first way is by adding it into channels. So here's our demo bot that we just created. So I can just add it to the channel like this. And then we can talk to it so we can say, and it should give us a little response back. Hi Zeph man, how can I assist you today? There we go. So it knows, it's got a bit of context about the channel. So you can say, what did Chris just post about? So there you go. So now, you know, it's already sort of like almost like a little mini team member in your channel. Okay, so the other way that you can talk to your bot is when you install it, you'll see that you get this message from Slackbot saying that you have installed a app that has an AI assistant or agent. What you need to do is you need to click this little open settings button here, which will load up in Slack. And then if you want it to appear in the top bar, which I'll show you in a second, you need to click this here and save it. So after you do that, your ChatThing bot will be available to talk to from this new little button up here. And when you click it, it's going to open up a new window alongside any channel that you're in where you can just message your bot. So, hi, how are you? And the difference here is that you don't need to @ your bot every time to get a response, whereas in other channels, if you want it to respond, you need to @ it. It'd be a bit annoying if it chipped in on every single one of your messages. So that's another way that you can talk to it. You can also direct message it if you want, but it's pretty similar to doing it this way. One of the nice things about using the new AI assistance area here is that you can go back and go through your previous conversations with it. So if you're doing a specific task that you want to follow on later, you can just go back in there, continue. So the other really cool thing about adding these bots into Slack is that they work with all of the other chat thing features. So if you've added a data source, say you've added your website documentation, HR docs or whatever, you'll be able to ask a question to your bot in Slack and it should be able to use that to give you an answer. But then even more exciting is if you add power-ups to your bot, they will also work in Slack. So let me just quickly show you now. If I go back to here, and we go power-ups and I add the Google search power-up. Just speed through that one there. Okay, so if I come back to Slack and now ask a question like this. Can you find me swimming pools in Newquay, UK? It should go off and use that new Google search power-up to actually come back with a list of swimming pools. Let's just give it a bit of time. But this is, there we go. So that's some actual results that it's found from Google, which is pretty awesome. And you can see how this is really powerful because this now works with any of the power-ups. So you can connect it to Notion, all sorts of things that you can do here now. So what I'll show you next are the actual Slack power-ups. So the first one we've got is, we'll go with Slack Get History first. So by adding this power up, you give your bot the ability to go back and ask for the history of a channel that it's been added to. So when you message it, usually it will be it gets like the last 10 messages as part of the conversation so that it can answer questions based on what you're currently talking about, but it doesn't get more than that. So adding the Get History power up allows it to basically go back and ask for a much longer duration of messages. So it could say like, I want all of the messages for the last week or so. And that's really useful because it allows your bots to do things like summarize everything that's happened in this channel over the last week, which is a pretty useful thing for it to be able to do. So you get the settings screen here where you can change the name and description. You probably don't really need to do that for most use cases. And if you want to, you can limit it to a single channel so that it can only get the history of certain channels. So we will save that. And if I come back to here, I'll just start a new chat so we can see what's going on. I can now say to my bots, can you tell me everything that's happened in the general channel this week? So now it's, this is actually good that that's happened. So I haven't added it in, I've been making a few of these test bots and I hadn't actually added this new one into the general channel. So I've done that now. And you can see here that it basically said it can't get it because it's not added to it. So that's a good little reminder that it can only get history of channels that it's been added to. So let's try that again now. Oh, I didn't say this week, but even still, it should work. So it might take a little while to respond now because obviously it's getting quite a lot of information to digest and summarize. But you can see it's gone back and given me a summary of everything that's happened in that channel. So that's really awesome. So hopefully you can see how that one's useful. You can be more specific, like you can say what happened between these dates or what happened yesterday, that sort of thing. So then the other power up is the send message power up. And this one allows your bot to send a message into a channel it's been added to, but not just as a response to a message from someone within there. Cool, so now we've added that send message power up. Let's just show you how it works. So we can come here and say at Slack demo, send a short poem into the general channel. Ah, look at that. That was ridiculously fast. There we go, which is pretty cool. But it's done that. Obviously, that's just a silly little demo, but it's potentially useful in other scenarios, especially when you integrate it with things like we were saying, tasks, where you can get it to sort of message at certain times and all that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool, but also you can remember that you can change the model behind this just like you can. So at the moment we're using 4 Mini. Say you prefer Claude Sonnet, change the model there, come back to Slack and say, hi, can you write me a poem? And it's now going to be using Claude, which is pretty awesome. You can swap it to Gemini or any of the other models that we support. So obviously this is quite a big advantage over the Slack AI assistants that they've got built in, because you don't have any control over the model that's being used there or the data that it's connected to. We'll just be using the basic training data that they've all got as their knowledge, whereas here you can connect it to your data sources. You can connect power-ups to actually get it to do things for you. It works with images, so you can pass it an image and it will know what's in it. It's just super powerful, really useful, and an amazing asset to have these agents in Slack. So I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I hope you get your Slack bots set up. If you have any issues, give us a shout, but we're excited to see what you make. Bye.